It's the Chronicles of a Gooner, the Arsenal podcast, and we are live.
You're listening to the Chronicles of a Gooner, the Arsenal podcast.
I'm Martin Tyler, and you're listening to Harry Symeou.
Hello, welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner, the Arsenal podcast, brought to you by 90 Min. As ever, I'm your host, Harry Symeou, and on this edition, we're going to be looking ahead to Arsenal's final Premier League game of the season, the visit of Brighton and Hove Albion. If you're watching us live, you're probably wondering, what on earth is he doing live on a Saturday at this time? Well, obviously, I haven't got work today because the Premier League games are all tomorrow. So I am doing my last commentary of the season tomorrow. In a way, I'm kind of glad that a break is just around the corner. But on the other hand, I'm feeling a little bit sad because it's been such an incredible season for me from a personal level in terms of the opportunities I've had and stuff. But on the other side of it, Arsenal have been dreadful. Arsenal have been really difficult to watch, and it's not been a great campaign overall. So in a bit of a catch-22 on that one. If you're wondering why I'm sounding a little bit croaky again, yes, you've guessed it, I'm ill again. Yep, I am ill again. Right before my big commentary finale of the season, I have caught a bloody cold. And you know what? It is just a cold. I have done a test to make sure, but it is just a cold. But for those of you who've got young kids that go to nursery or go to school, this is what happens, right? They go to school, they go to nursery, they get a cold, they come home, they bring it to you, you get it, it passes, and then 2 weeks later, bang, same thing happens again. Well, that's how it feels anyway. Let's say a big hello to everybody in the live chat. I hope you're all well. Big hello to Aaron, to Bad Boy, to Julia Gunner, to Cena, to Rancid, to William, to all of you. Hope you're all good. Hope you're all keeping well. Hope you've all enjoyed your Saturday so far. And before we get into talk about Arsenal's game at the Emirates Stadium tomorrow against Brighton and Hove Albion, it would be wrong of me, having just sat and probably watched one of the most enjoyable games of football I've seen this season between Brentford and Bournemouth in the playoff semi-final. It would be completely wrong of me not to even give that game an honourable mention. It was a fantastic spectacle. It was really entertaining. Played it with a really high energy at a really high pace. Brentford are a team that I really like and really admire. I had the pleasure, I probably told you guys this story before, but I think it was a couple of seasons ago now, where I was sent down to Griffin Park, so Brentford's old ground, to cover a game in which they were playing Birmingham City. I think it was the start of not last season, the season before. And I went down there and it was just an old school traditional stadium. I know they don't play there anymore, but you got that feeling of an old school football club. And Thomas Frank, the manager, when he came out afterwards to give us his press conference, he was fantastic, incredibly friendly, stayed back as well, and had a quick word with all of us as well, which for me, as someone who was doing one of my sort of first ever reporting gigs at that kind of sort of level, at championship level, it was fantastic. And I from that day on, I've had a soft spot for Brentford and Thomas Frank, so I really do hope they do. But I got to admit, when Arnaut Danjuma raced through on goal for Bournemouth to put them in front and essentially double their lead on aggregate to 2-0, I feared the worst for Brentford. But to their credit, they battled back and fair play to them, and they got the result that they really needed. And it was a deserved result in the end. I know there was a bit of sort of outrage in the commentary. I think it was Don Goodman on co-commentary on Sky Sports, who was really adamant that that wasn't a penalty, the penalty that Brentford were awarded early on. I thought it was madness. The guy's arms were out here. I mean, how could it not be a penalty? If that was against us, I'd have been going absolutely mad. So I think it was the right call. Some people may disagree. I don't see how putting your arms out like that when you're going into a slide tackle is natural, or is a natural movement. I just don't get that. Big hello to those of you joining us in the chat a little bit late. How you doing, David? How you doing, Josh? I hope you guys are all well. But let's shift our attention to Arsenal's game against Brighton and Hove Albion. And as I said, with regards to my own personal thoughts, it's kind of one of those seasons where you want it to end because it's been terrible and you want to break from it and you want to just switch off from it. But equally, the way that the level of football has just become, or the level of enjoyment I've got from watching football over the last week or so has like doubled because of the fact that fans are back at the games. It makes the world of difference. And it feels like now that we've got the fans back and now that we're going back in the direction towards the game that we want, we're in a position where the season's about to finish. So that's why I'm kind of feeling a bit sort of up and down about the idea of tomorrow being the last game. And it is the last game. And as I say, you know, if you'd have asked me this question 2 weeks ago, I was all for. I just wanted the season to end there and then. If somebody had said to me, right, we're going to click our fingers and cancel the season right now on the spot, Arsenal will finish where they are, I would have said, just do it. I don't care. Just do it. But, you know, a few wins down the line, Arsenal looking a lot better. And of course, as I mentioned, the fact that fans are now back allowed at the games just makes football a much more enjoyable spectacle. And I know this summer we're blessed because we have the European Championships to keep us going. And I love international tournaments. I love the Euros. I love the World Cup. They're brilliant. They give me a chance to really sit back and enjoy football without the stresses. You know, I don't get stressed about international football. I just enjoy it. So, looking forward to the summer. But going into the game tomorrow, so for Arsenal, there is still plenty at stake, of course. Arsenal, a couple of weeks ago, looked like they were going to have their first season in 25 years without European competition next season. But it seems like we could still sneak into Europe, albeit in the third tier. The Europa Conference League place is up for grabs to whoever finishes seventh. Now, of course, Arsenal, Everton, Spurs can all finish in that position, which is, interesting going into the last game. Of course, Leicester, they play Tottenham, and Tottenham will be desperate to finish their season on a high. Leicester desperate to hold on to their Champions League position after things have looked a bit worrying for them, given how their sort of form has gone in the Premier League and the fact that they recently lost to Chelsea, which obviously got Chelsea back in the driving seat. And of course, Liverpool are back in the picture as well. My ideal scenario tomorrow would be for Arsenal to beat Brighton, Leicester and Spurs to draw, and Everton, and I know this is a little bit far-fetched, but Everton to go and beat Manchester City, because that would mean that we'd finish above Tottenham, but not above Everton. So Everton would be the ones that qualify for the Europa Conference, but we still get to pip Spurs in the league. And that would be a nice little bonus off the back of what's been a really, really disappointing season, wouldn't it? There's no doubt about it. You know, it's been hard. It's been a slog. It's been disappointing. It's made me feel down. It's made me feel angry. It's given us all kinds of emotions over the course of the campaign. It's kind of brought the question to light around whether or not Mikel Arteta is good enough, is the right man. We've looked at a lot of our players over the course of the campaign and come to the conclusion that maybe some of them are not quite at the level required either, even some of the ones that we thought previously might have been. So it's a season that has brought up lots of questions, and now the summer is where Arsenal need to provide the answers. But I'd advise everybody to be cautious when it comes to the summer. Don't expect a £200, £200 if, mind you, it's Arsenal, so you never know. But don't expect the £200 million summer spending spree. A lot of what we're going to do is going to be dependent on player sales. And there are a few players on the books that we could sell and we could potentially raise some funds from. But of course, those deals have to be done. And, in the last transfer window, or the last summer transfer window, we were all quite excited about what might happen. And some of the sales that we kind of hoped would come to fruition never really did. And that was a big, big problem for Arsenal, because it meant that Arsenal had to act late when doing some of their own business. And you saw how late we left the Thomas Partey deal. So, the summer is going to be an interesting one. tomorrow's game is one of those games, though, where I'm like, if we win it, great. We finish the season on kind of a high, on a decent run of results. Maybe we'll finish above Spurs. But do I want the Europa Conference League? Honestly, I don't, if I had the choice. But maybe the club will see it differently. Maybe the club will see it as a status thing, being in Europe. Allows the club to maintain their record of being in Europe, and that'll be the 26th consecutive season. And it's a record that the club are incredibly proud of. It would bring us some revenue. I'm not sure how much exactly. And I don't think it compares really to the Champions League revenue or even the Europa League revenue, but it's something. So, yeah, I'm sure the club will see it differently. But look, just because not all of us are convinced that we want to go into the Europa Conference League next season, it doesn't mean that the players can go out there tomorrow and be half-hearted. I still want to see a committed display. I want to see Arsenal get all 3 points, and whatever will be, will be. Just want to give you guys a quick reminder that this weekend, once again, for the last time this season, though, I am playing the Le Bon football predictor game alongside the lads. So I'm playing with Rory Jennings, Elliot Hackney, Adam McCullough, and Lawrence Boovy. You can see the link in the description to the Le Bon app. Head over, check it out. Bet against your mates rather than the bookmakers, and you get the bragging rights as well as taking their cash, which is always a good laugh. But check out the Le Bon app. You must be a UK resident. You must be 18 or over to play it. So please, as I say, click on the link in the description, download it, check it out. It is great fun. And I've gone on the Le Bon app for an Arsenal 3-1 win this weekend. So let me know what you think about that in the comments as well. What should Mikel Arteta do tomorrow in terms of the team selection? You got to go as strong as possible. You have to go as strong as possible. And I haven't really thought about this one a lot in advance, because I'm kind of almost looking at this game and going, well, let's just get the season done and dusted. I do really feel like that. I know a lot of people are kind of excited about the fact that we go into the final day with something to play for, where something is up for grabs. But I do really feel a little bit, I don't know, I felt like this ever since we went out of the Europa League. I felt a little bit sort of downbeat and a little bit sort of, I don't even know what the word is. I'm looking for a word. Indifferent, is that the word I want? About what happens, about where we go from here. Obviously, in the summer, I'll be keeping a keen eye on things. And the great thing about football is there's always next season. So you're looking for next season to be different and Arsenal to turn things around. But it's impossible for me to get majorly excited about this game. I got to be honest. And yeah, it's sad, but it's where Arsenal are at the moment. So the team I'd go for, just sort of running through it quickly in my head, would be Leno in goal. We know that Matt Ryan is ineligible, playing against his parent club. Mad to think that Arsenal have a goalkeeper on loan from Brighton. You'd think it'd be the other way around. But yeah, so Bernd Leno in goal. I'd go with Chambers at right back, Tierney at left back. I'd go with Gabriel and Holding at centre back. I'd go with Partey and Xhaka in midfield. Emile Smith-Rowe in the 10. And then I'd go Pepe, Saka, and Lacazette as my front three. That's the team I would pick, not necessarily, as I always say, the one I believe that Mikel Arteta will pick. I wonder if Lacazette will get a starting place. I wonder if Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang will be selected instead. It'll be interesting to see. But that's the team I'd go with. So just to run through that one more time: Leno in goal, Chambers, Holding, Gabriel, Tierney, Xhaka, Partey, Smith-Rowe, Saka, Pepe, Lacazette. That's the team I would pick. Right, just another quick reminder that this podcast is brought to you, of course, by manscaped.com. So if your nether regions are in need of some tender, loving care, head over to manscaped.com, enter our discount code, which is 90min20, and you'll receive free shipping as well as 20% off of your order. So you stand to save yourself a fair bit of money. And with lockdown coming to an end, if you're going to go out on the pool, you might want to get that sorted. So check it out. Right, let's get some of your questions in the live chat box. Let's see what we've got here. Big hello to DJ Funksy as well. Hope you're well, man. Yeah, Nasty Cody says, yeah, get well soon. Yeah, it's one of those ones where like you're just so bunged up, and it's so annoying because when your job is to talk it can be quite problematic. But hopefully by tomorrow it'll ease off a little bit. Baker Man says that Bissouma and Partey would be rock solid, but is it creative enough? Of course, Yves Bissouma is a player being heavily linked with a move to Arsenal this summer. I think it's one that the fans want more than there's actual evidence that it's going to happen. So I'd bear that in mind when kind of talking about it. But that would be my worry as well, that it wouldn't be creative enough. I think at the moment we're in a position where we're not very creative from midfield, and perhaps probably more of a problem is the fact that we don't get any goals from midfield. So to play Bissouma and Partey in there, I'm not sure, I'm not sure either of them are comfortable enough to get the ball from the centre-backs either and build play from a deeper position. So, yeah, that's my worry. I feel like in terms of their profiles, they're quite similar players. Or at least they are in theory. And so I'm not sure that pairing works particularly well, but we'll see. We'll see. If he's signed, then, we'll get a look at that. But I'm not sure. I've read some stuff today that actually the Bissouma thing is not one of Arsenal's priorities. So we're going to have to see how that pans out and see if that is a deal that eventually does come to fruition. Martin Smith says, Harry, without Europa Conference, where do the youngsters get any game time? They have to get it in the cups, I guess, mate. And there'd have to be that blend, wouldn't there? I think for Arsenal, the priority has to be to get back in the Champions League. That has to be Arsenal's aim. A top 4 finish has to be the target. And I actually think that without European football, yes, obviously we lose out on finance, but without European football, having a week between each game to recover, to work on things on the training ground, as well as having the ability to be able to trim down the squad and have less players, but players that we feel are fit for purpose, is probably quite significant when you're going through a rebuilding period like we are now. So not being in Europe allows Mikel Arteta to work with a smaller group, and that smaller group will get more game time. That smaller group will be more well drilled. There won't be players on the outskirts of it, on the fringes of it, looking in. And, if you can offload 3 or 4 players and you can bring one upgrade in, then you're kind of going in the right direction, I think, in terms of the rebuild. What have we got here? Let's see. Junior Gunner says, Harry, would you take Kane? I think that's meant to be Kane. Would you take Kane doing the Sol Campbell part 2 if it meant we lose Oba and Lacazette? Yeah, I think he's better than both of them. So, yeah, it kills me to say it. But, yeah, I would. What else have we got? Big hello to Paul Medhurst. He says, smash the likes, people, and subscribe. Great content, as always. Thank you so much, mate. And apologies, it's not going to be as long as the normal previews are. But as you can probably tell by my voice, I'm struggling to talk at the moment, which is a flipping pain in the ass. But we'll be bringing you a show tomorrow night where we'll be rounding up the Brighton game. And then over the course of next week, we've got lots of stuff planned in terms of review stuff. So we're going to be reviewing the season in different ways. I'm going to be bringing various different guests on, and we're going to try our best to come to the most sensible conclusions about Mikel Arteta's first full season in charge and where we go from here. We'll be obviously throughout the summer talking about transfers, and we'll be bringing you coverage of the Euros as well. So lots and lots to come. But right now I can see there are 170 of you watching us live, and we've only got 30 likes. Surely we can get those 30 likes up to 100 between now and the end of the stream. Just please smash the like button. It doesn't cost a thing. It's really easy to do, and it really helps the channel. And equally, if you want to become a member and support the channel even further, get access to our members only content as well as our private Discord server, you can do that by clicking on the link in the description and signing up. Matt says, who gets more minutes next season, Martinelli or Balogun? I think it's got to be Martinelli, Matt. The thing with Balogun is I've heard loads of great things about him. I've seen him score goals for the under-23s at that level of football, but it's a really different kettle of fish. I'm glad we tied him down. I think he is someone who, has, based on what I've seen, the potential to go on and be a really good player. But Martinelli is already at the level above. Martinelli's already competing in and around the first team. Balogun hasn't had a sniff in the Premier League. Martinelli has, and Martinelli continues, or is starting at least, to take those chances. Obviously, when he first joined the club, He was fantastic, Martinelli. And then after the injury, when he first came back, he didn't quite look up to standards. But now, he is back at the level that we all expect from him, and I think he'll be forcing his way into the team next season for sure. What else have we got here in terms of your question? Ekene didn't like my comment about Thomas Partey. He says, Harry, what are you talking about? Partey's so creative. Partey can play that pass from defensive midfield into the attacking midfielder. Right? That pass between the lines. Partey can do that. But what Partey can't do is pick out a pass like the one Martin Odegaard did for Martinelli for that vital goal at Crystal Palace the other night. That type of player, the player who can unlock a defense with one really top-class pass, who can see a run from someone, who can see a picture before it happens and play the pass the way Odegaard did. Partey's not at that level in terms of his creativity. Yes, what I like about him is when he does receive the ball, he wants to play the ball through the lines and he wants to get you moving and he wants to get you on the front foot, which is fantastic. But him and Bissouma, they're not gonna unlock defenses for you. They'll work hard and they'll dominate physically. And I'm not saying they'll be bad in possession, but they're not going to break down those stubborn 2 banks of 4 that we face pretty much every time someone comes to the Emirates. Just going to pick out a couple more questions because I am struggling, as you can see. Ashton says, lemon, some honey, hot cup of tea and a shot of raggi. Yes, definitely need to get onto some of that for sure. What else have we got here? Sidan, Leicester City fan, says, Harry, what would you rate Arteta this season? 1 to 10. Probably a 5, if that. It's not been good enough. There's no getting away from that. And I do like him, and I think that he is. I think he's someone who will go on and be a very, very good coach, etc., etc. But just not for me. It's not worked for me. To be where you are now. When I say it's not worked, I mean it's not worked this season. That doesn't mean sack him right now, sack him right away. But I do think he'll go on to be a very good coach. But if you're asking me on this season, how anyone could give him more than a 5 is beyond me. When you consider where Arsenal are, maybe a 5 is even too generous. I don't know. All right, we're going to leave it there because, I'm probably going to sneeze in a minute. And nobody wants to see that on a live stream. But thank you for tuning in, as always. As I said, I'll be back tomorrow night with some more Arsenal-related content, looking back on the Brighton and Hove Albion game. I might even get some callers on tomorrow night. So if you fancy joining me to have your say on the final match review show of the season, then you're welcome to do so. So the link will be in the chat box when we start that live stream tomorrow night. Details to follow. So keep across it. Stay tuned to me on Twitter at Chronicles_AFC, and I'll keep you posted right there. Right, I'll catch you all tomorrow. Fingers crossed Arsenal get all 3 points. Fingers crossed we end up finishing above Spurs, but fingers crossed we miss out just on that European Super League, Europa Conference League, whatever you bloody call it. Too many leagues, too much confusion. I'll catch you all soon. Until next time. Ciao.
You're listening to the Chronicles of a Gooner, the Arsenal podcast.
I'm Martin Tyler, and you're listening to Harry Symeou.